I've been in constant communication with my counterparts and have called on them to stand with us in the defense of coalition forces in Iraq. Working through NATO, the Defeat ISIS coalition, and with our partners on the ground, we continue to bolster Iraqi institutions to ensure the lasting defeat of ISIS. As we defend our people and interests, let me reiterate that the United States is not seeking a war with Iran, but we are prepared to finish one. We are seeking a diplomatic solution, but first, this will require Iran to de-escalate. It will require the regime to come to the table with the goal of preventing further bloodshed. And it will require them to cease their malign activities throughout the region. As I've said, we are open to having this discussion with them, but we are just as prepared to deliver a forceful response to defend our interests.
Mr. Secretary, you said the U.S. is not seeking war with Iran. I think the question most people want an answer to is how close are we to war with Iran? And specifically, how would you characterize Iranian military movements over the past several days?
Yeah, it is true. We're not seeking war with Iran. I think what happens next depends on them. I think we should expect that they will retaliate in some way, shape, or form, either through their proxies, as they've been doing now for how many years, or by their own hand. And so we take this one step at a time. We're prepared for any contingency, and then we will respond appropriately to whatever they do.
Mr. Secretary, can you please explain to us how the killing of one of Iran's top generals would contribute to the case of de-escalation? You're asking Iran to de-escalate now. Would the U.S. respond in such a manner if one of your top generals was killed in a third country?
Well, let's take a look at history. Soleimani was a terrorist leader of a U.S.-designated foreign terrorist organization. He's been conducting terrorist activities against us and our coalition partners for over 20 years. He has the blood of hundreds of Americans, soldiers, on his hands and wounded thousands more. And then we could talk about all the mayhem he's caused against the Syrian people, the people of Lebanon, even his own people in Iran. He is responsible in the Quds Force for the killing of Iranian people. So this sense that somehow taking somebody who, oh, by the way, over the last few months, had planned, orchestrated, and or resourced attacks against the United States that resulted in the killing of American and the siege of our embassy in Baghdad, and was in Baghdad to coordinate additional attacks, to somehow suggest that he wasn't a legitimate target, I think, is fanciful. He was clearly on the battlefield. He was conducting, preparing, planning military operations. He was a legitimate target, and his time was due.